The Academy has not administered that respiratory test since. The equipment has not been recalibrated since. The humans' readings have not been explained since. 3 screens display atmospheric composition baselines for 14,000 tested species, all between 8.14% oxygen. The Thessani Academy of Xenobiology, the galaxy's foremost classification institution. My institution, my legacy, my shame. I am Professor Paluri. Thessani, 0.2G evolution. My joints are fragile as crystal. My respiratory system processes oxygen at 9% concentration. Any higher, and the molecular activity becomes unpredictable. Corrosive even. Today's test was supposed to be routine. Respiratory profiling for a new exchange student, a formality. The student from the unclassified world, the one with the impossible gravity reading on her file. Have you ever wondered what terrifies a species that conquered gravity? The test was scheduled for 9 o'clock. The human arrived at 9:12. No urgency. No apology that suggested genuine remorse. Just a shrug and a small jar containing a green cutting from some plant. She carried it like a child might carry a toy. Dagny Birch, female, listed background, botanist. Sorry, she said, setting the jar on the observation tray next to the blank test printout. The gravity here made me oversleep. It's so light. I made a note. 0.2G made her oversleep. On her world, she functions under force that would immobilize a Thessani soldier, would crush my skeleton into powder. She sat in the scanner, relaxed, as if this were a routine dental appointment. She didn't check the equipment, didn't ask about safety protocols, didn't even look at the emergency release. Scanner initializing. Dagny nicked her finger on the scanner's sample port edge. A single drop of blood. Round, red, metallic sheen. The automated system flagged. Biohazard iron-based hemoglobin detected. Atmospheric contamination risk. Containment recommended. 2 lab assistants reached for masks. My hand was already halfway to my face. I didn't realize I'd moved. Dagny wiped the blood on her sleeve. Just a paper cut. I watched the wound. Thessani injuries take 3 standard days to form a proper seal. This human's blood was already clotting. In real time, before my eyes. The red darkened. The flow stopped. 15 seconds from cut to closure. She didn't even look at it. The respiratory scan began. Dagny breathed normally. The scanner's first reading appeared. Red text. An error flag. Atmospheric oxygen expectation for subject's homeworld 21%. Warning, value exceeds galactic baseline maximum by 50%. Verify calibration. I assumed a decimal error. 2.1% would be high but plausible. Some extremophile species breathe 4% in short bursts. But 21%? That number was a typo. It had to be. The decimal is misplaced. It has to be. No species could evolve breathing. The scanner peeped again. Second reading. Same number. Can you confirm your homeworld's atmospheric oxygen concentration? I asked. My voice sounded steady. My chromatophores were not. Our equipment may have a calibration issue. Dagny shrugged. 21%. Pretty standard for Earth. I waited for the correction, the admission that she'd misspoken, the embarrassed laugh. Actually, she said, I think it might be a little higher in some areas, rainforests and all. 21%. The compound that corrodes Thessani's structural cartilage at sustained exposure. The gas that intoxicates salivary neural tissue at 9%. The oxidizer classified as a controlled atmospheric substance, above 15% in every inhabited system in the Galactic Accord. This human breathes it, constantly. Her lungs process an atmosphere that would chemically burn the respiratory tissue of 90% of known species, and she just corrected the number you put. That's not possible, I whispered. The scanner displayed 21.0% in red. Maximum alert color. The printout began feeding from the tray. 1 line of text. 1 number. The equipment was not compromised. The decimal was not misplaced. I read it again. The number didn't change. I read it a 3rd time. It still didn't change. The lab assistant to my left turned to his colleague. The math checks out, he said. Quiet, hollow. That's the worst part. 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen. At 101.325 kilopascals of pressure, every number on the full atmospheric profile exceeded galactic safety limits. Every single one. I accessed the classification database. Earth's atmosphere file was flagged unverified, presumed data corruption. I unflagged it. Verified. The jar. The plant cutting Dagny had carried into the room. The one sitting on the observation tray. I looked at it differently now. That jar contained Earth's atmosphere. A sealed sample of 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, 101.325 kPa. I had been standing next to it for 12 minutes, breathing the trace leakage from its imperfect seal, my hand pressed against my sternum. My chromatophores had shifted to deep amber. I didn't remember making them do that. The Academy's environmental alert triggered. The scanner room contained trace oxygen from the human's exhaled breath. Concentration, 16%. Still above safe limits for Thasani. Still corrosive. The filtration system activated emergency purge. I heard the scrubbers kick on. I didn't look up. I was still staring at the printout. The red numbers. The decimal point that wasn't misplaced. The human who had just called a class, 1-2 Death World atmosphere, pretty standard, and then asked if she could keep her plant cutting in the dormitory. I contacted Dean Vorithi. Seal the laboratory, I said. Reclassify the exchange student. Contact the medical authority. The dean asked what the emergency was. The word stopped. Where do you start? How do you explain that a student brought a jar of poison into your facility and you thanked her for it? I need you to see the printout. The atmospheric scrubbers will run for another 3 days. The test result printout, 1 page, 1 number, has been forwarded to the Galactic Medical Authority, the Fleet Science Division, and the Species Classification Office. Dagny Birch has been moved to a sealed atmosphere dormitory. Request for reassignment filed. Reason: the classification system requires revision. The classification system requires a lot of things. The classification system requires a lot of things. I am not equipped to provide them. Not from this oxygen concentration. Not from this close to a jar of Earth air.